Λιμεναρχείο Λαβρίου το Απόλλων.
Using cutting-edge high-def cameras, our expedition has two goals: to search for structural design features on Britannic that can hopefully answer questions about Titanic sinking, and the second is to penetrate deep inside the ship and find out why Britannic, with her double hull and additional watertight bulkheads, sank twice as fast as her more famous sister.
Once we're finished with that, we can do some footage outside of the telegraphs and things like that. So we don't give a damn now about telegraphs, about things like that.
Yeah.
Go boom, straight away for that.
Okay.
Is that okay for you?
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
We'll be down there on the road, Michael. That's the way I like it. We are ready.
We need to make communication with the RIB to make sure that they know about it, but just remind them that they hand me the Prussack and Joe the downline. My main role on this dive is to assist Evan. He's taking the camera in and I'll be tending the line, the fibre optic cable to the camera. We're the second team to splash it.
Second team, but we have things to accomplish on the surface just in terms of getting the camera hooked up. We're a little more logistically complicated because we are not able to moor in the Apollon. So Bill rigged up a Zodiac, a little to-go box essentially, and now he's working out of a Zodiac, which is going to be a feat into itself.
We're getting ready to go into the ship Zodiac. We've configured a small portable control system for the main Bumblebee camera. What we're going to do is operate it from that small boat tied off on the mooring, and that just because the weather's too rough today for the support vessel to tie off on the mooring, this will still allow us to have a tethered camera down on the wreck. I've worked out of a Zodiac before, but not quite like this.
It's going to be my deepest wreck dive. It's not my deepest dive, but it's going to be my deepest wreck dive where I'm going to be going inside a shipwreck, traveling quite a bit of distance, someplace where no one's ever gone before. We don't know what obstructions or hazards wait for us, but we've really done our homework. We've studied the plan. We've liaised with the experts who can tell us how Britannic was built, what to expect in those rooms the day she was built. But what they can't tell us is what's happened in nearly the 100 years that she's been laying on the seabed. She's filled up with coal dust. She's been deteriorating, not to say, and also to add that, somebody detonated a huge weapon next to the area where we're going in. So we have no idea what we're going to find when we go in. We know what we're looking for. We know where it is. We know how to get there. I guess in a couple hours I'll be able to tell you what it was like and what we found. The same thing that draws us here, the fact that Britannic is so intact, is also the thing that makes our job that much harder. If she was broken open, much like Titanic, we could peer in those wounds. But some of our answers lay deep inside this intact hull, and in order to get to them, we're going to have to go the same way that the passengers and crew did. Down the hallway, down the stairs, turn left, and it's real easy to get turned around. Let's not forget that the lights are off in there. It's filled with silt. Oh yeah, and it's on its side. So stairways are on their side, doorways are on their side, and it's quite easy to get turned around and lose your perspective. Most of the members of the team have been diving shipwrecks
just like that. Like the Andrea Doria wreck that I'm very well familiar, but even still, it's so easy to look down a staircase that's on its side and just become totally disoriented. You don't know what deck you're on. And although to travel from the top to the bottom of the ship, you're only moving laterally, we also have to go up and down from the port side to the starboard side. When you think about that, we're going to be traversing decks, changing deck levels, and then moving across those decks, and then we have to navigate our way back out. Some of the places that we're going to go, there's only one way in and one way out. And if you lose that perspective, you're going to be on Britannic a long time. There's a very good chance that on Britannic, we may be able to go somewhere, we may be able to find something that's going to change what people have believed about Britannic, and in some ways her sister ship Titanic. That's pretty heady, you know, to be able to contribute to or even possibly change people's perceptions of history. History is a work in progress, and when something great like a huge passenger liner goes down like the Britannic in an act of violence, there's a lot of questions that were never really answered. And prior to the last few years, the technology really didn't exist for people to go inside Britannic. I mean, think about that. We're talking about going to 400 feet and then crawling in one of the largest, if not the largest, accessible passenger liners in the world for shipwreck divers. It's a daunting task getting in there and trying to travel through all of these corridors filled with silt and try to figure out what happened. Or if you can't figure out, at least bring back documentation in the form of video to the experts who could look at it and then maybe figure something out. So being a part of that is pretty cool.
When you think about opportunity, in 1991 I was given an opportunity to go on a dive trip to a location where a boat captain said he had found an unknown submarine. I took that opportunity. I went out, and what we then discovered was a German U-boat from World War II. That changed my life. Literally changed my life. We think about the roads that we walk down in our life. We hear people say, oh, this changed my life. But I'm an example that a guy was just fixing windows. I was a passionate scuba diver. I loved, and I still do, love diving. But my taking a chance that day, and then every day since then, has afforded me wonderful opportunities. And somehow, some way, a guy who dove on the weekend started producing underwater documentaries and films. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity tonight to tell you not only my story, but to talk about making underwater films. And what I'd like to do now is for those of you that came just to see this presentation, I wanted to thank you, and we're going to take a break for a few minutes. And then for those of you that do underwater video, I was asked to do a little bit of a workshop, and I was going to show you guys some very raw edits to teach you some techniques that we use to produce documentaries or films that are a little bit better than home movies. So if any of you are interested in that, it's very raw, very hard driven stuff, just rough edit things that you can do both in the camera and then in post editing to really make your videos a lot better. So with that, for those of you that are leaving, thank you very much. And for those of you that want to do the little bit of a workshop afterwards, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Thank you very much.